That's right, jocks, weebs, we're not that different. Don't believe me based on the absurd clickbait title? Well, let's take a closer look. Both shonen anime and football at their core hinge on one thing: action. Intense moments of hype with two opponents duking it out. There's strategy, underdogs, ongoing story arcs, and usually incredibly ripped men engaged in said fisticuffs. But you know, at least with anime they tend to mix up the antagonist every arc or so. With football, come on, they've used the same villain for almost 2 decades now. And to dig myself into this hole even deeper, both Bad Shonen Anime and football have their aforementioned action set pieces incredibly truncated. Football, it is literally stop and go the entire time. I mean, look at it, there's no animation here to speak of. And you might have seen the statistic where football is actually only played for a total of 11 minutes, or when you exclude commercials, 8.6% of the actual game. Translate that to your typical anime runtime, and that's a measly 2 minutes of action. For comparison, both Deku's bouts against Gran Torino almost clear that hurdle, and those are the episodes that lead up to the actual action-filled ones. Hell, it's not shonen, but the f***ing rap battle from Zombieland Saga also passes. That's why football is like Bad Shonen Anime, hardly any dynamic action with most of the shots being dedicated to people standing around. Makes sense, I suppose, with most of the budget going to player salaries and the suits upstairs. Also makes sense then that it's lacking any real heart or philosophy that good shonen tends to have. So much of it is just the same with football. Even going back to the action, when you factor in the 512 games played during a season and then consider maybe only a handful of times we get to see something like this, it's no wonder the comparison is warranted. Constantly relying on the same monotonous actions to generate interest, not to mention every season ends with the same type of gigik, if you would. Tournament! Thank you. I mean, mix it up, guys! Also, football focuses heavily on showing us what we just saw and what we already know in an effort to explain how we got to the current situation. Some might call these flashbacks. And actually, the sport dedicates more time to replays, 17 minutes, than to action. If you saw that kind of ratio in an anime, you would think it was some kind of self-parody. Not to mention we have spectators constantly talking and explaining what's going on rather than letting the actions speak for themselves. And then there's cosplay. Oh yeah, we're going there. Both parties are perfectly capable of spending hundreds of dollars to dress up as their favorite character or mascot if they want. But you know what? I can spend a good deal less to dress up as a convincing Tatsumi from Zombieland Saga or Ash from Pokemon. If I want to even attempt that in the world of football and cosplay Tom Brady, I'm gonna have to drop $100 on a jersey. That's to say nothing of potential shoulder pads, cleats, or a jockstrap if I really want to commit. And you know what happens when I dress up as someone at a convention? I get high fives. Some people want to take a picture. You know what happens at a football stadium? I get verbally accosted at a Cleveland Browns game for wearing a Seattle Seahawks jersey when they were playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. It'd be like if, while Germany was fighting France during World War II, they just said, "Hey yo, f*** you, Switzerland," just for good measure. But yeah, I don't know what else there is to say. If you disagree, frankly, I don't see how, but you're entitled to your opinion. Just to add a little more salt to the fire though, go Browns, Seahawks, Vikings, and you, Patriots and Steelers! Football is Bad Shonen Anime. I rest my case. Bye-bye!